Welcome to Super Rant Season 1 Doomsday Preppers. Here we rewatch superhero movies to explore how they build towards bigger stories, starting with Avengers Doomsday and the MCU. Welcome to Super Rant. This is the show where we talk about movies as they relate to other movies, starting with the MCU leading up to Doomsday. As always, my name is Brian and I'm happy to be here.
My name is Kevin. I'm a lead writer for Screen Rant, covering all things superheroes, Star Wars, and all kinds of fun stuff.
Today we are talking about Spider-Man Homecoming, which came out in which year, Kevin?
2017.
2017. Wow, that's kind of crazy. We're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of that first movie.
Yeah, it's nuts.
That's pretty wild. I think this movie kind of sits at like a weird moment where like they knew that they wanted Spider-Man for Infinity War and Endgame and all that. And so they need to get like his own solo movie out, but then it's after Civil War where he was introduced. And so this Spider-Man is unique because we get that like introduction to this new character, but because Spider-Man is a character we all know so well already, and we've been through two other interpretations.
Right.
We don't necessarily get into the spider bite and the Uncle Ben and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I think I appreciated it just because, it's just like Batman, where Spider-Man is one of the biggest superheroes of all time. There's been multiple iterations. I think it was the right call to just kind of, we can factor Civil War into the conversation, but I think it was the right call to just jump right in,
Yeah, I think James Gunn is kind of doing the same thing with his universe right now too. With Superman, with Supergirl, and some of the other movies. Like, we're not necessarily spending so much time on the origin story.
Yeah.
Everybody really knows that.
Yeah.
And so we're just hopping into a universe that already exists. And I think for me, that's the biggest, strongest aspect of this movie, is that it exists within the shared universe.
Yeah. And I think at least by the time, like, when Spider-Man shows up in Civil War, he's been kind of operating as Spider-Man, what is it, for like 6 months?
Yeah, not very long.
Yeah, so it's like he's still very new to the game, which is perfect.
Right, and he makes the comment to Ned about Aunt May and everything that she's been through this last year, meaning that like the Uncle Ben stuff was fairly recent.
Yes, no, 100%. Yeah, because obviously like things like that get referenced, and even like great power, great responsibility, that gets referenced in Civil War. Not in those words, but the same sentiment. But yeah, I would agree. Homecoming is coming at this very interesting time for the MCU because seriously, like, it's only a year later, 2018, that we have Infinity War.
Yeah, and they got to get this movie out so that he can like have his own presence within Infinity War and have had some character development.
100%.
Which I'm not saying that this movie felt rushed, but like as soon as they got the rights to Spider-Man, it was clear that like, okay, it's a priority that a Spider-Man movie needs to be made as soon as possible.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's not bad, but it's certainly a unique time.
So, like I was saying earlier, I think some of the strongest parts of this movie for me, I think, is the interconnectedness with the rest of the MCU. Because, I mean, you've got the Avengers stuff with Vulture and his crew, and you've got Tony kind of being that mentor. You have mentions of other characters and other things that have happened.
Right.
And I think that for being the first time that Spider-Man gets to be in this universe, that's what fans were really looking for.
Absolutely.
Whereas I think with whatever new movie that's come with Brand New Day that's coming out soon, maybe that won't be the case. Not being said, we're still going to get Punisher and Hulk and a few other characters, but maybe they don't rely on as heavily as like some of the other movies have of like other events in the MCU.
Right. No, yeah, like he'll definitely be standing on his own 2 feet more in this latest one.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
Another strength of this movie for me is definitely Michael Keaton's Vulture.
Oh my gosh. easily in my top 10 favorite MCU villains, probably top 5.
I mean, if we just really want to whittle it down in terms of like Spider-Man villains, he's a top tier Spider-Man villain.
Super good.
Um,
I mean, I
like, and
do I do
I
love
love what they
Mysterio.
did.
I do love
I love
Mysterio, but
Mysterio,
Vulture's
and I mean,
great.
I love Doc Ock and all that. But like, they did a really good job, and I think Vulture is a really good like first supervillain for Spider-Man to fight because it's not something that has really high stakes. It's really ultimately, it's just crime.
Yeah.
It's not like an evil super villain who, is out to control the world. It's just a guy who is doing crime. And I think that's really cool. And then the way that Michael Keaton plays it is so awesome.
Yeah, this like
And it's
working
so,
class. Yeah.
yeah. And it's like, I'm just another guy like you, but I chose to be in it for myself. Whereas Spider Man's like, I'm just like everybody else, but I'm going to be in it for them.
Yeah.
And I think the way that they designed him from the wings that are made up of pieces of Shatari and other technology to even like the bomber jacket that has the frill
Oh, it's
that
such
turns one of the
such an
goofiest parts
awesome.
of
So many
like,
great design choices.
well, in the comics, Vulture is a goofy villain, right? Like he looks
Yeah.
strange, but
Yeah.
they do such a good job of making him look like a believable, like this is a believable costume.
100%.
And there's nothing like strange about it. And so I just think it's really cool. And then I think the other biggest strength for me is Peter and Ned's friendship.
Yeah.
I think the way
Yeah.
that they just like play off of each other and just they really kind of nail like the high school kid vibe in this movie,
Such a great
which I
dynamic.
think is super valuable. I think that's probably the thing that when we look at Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, I think that's one of the things that those movies did poorly was that high school dynamic. Whereas in these Tom Holland movies, they do a really good job of like, yeah, he's just a kid. He's
Yeah.
maybe looking for more responsibility than he can handle in the moment.
Yes.
I think it's very well done.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, he graduates from high school like halfway through the first movie, and Andrew Garfield graduates at the beginning of his second movie. So neither one of them is in high school for very long.
Well, and then the scenes that we do get of them in high school are very limited.
Oh, yeah.
It's very much just to set up like, oh, he's kind of the loser, and the majority of the rest of the movie takes place, supposedly like what on summer break or something because they're not really in school.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean.
Yes.
And so I really like to see a Peter Parker who is in high school, who is getting in trouble for skipping class, who's making his own web fluid in the science department.
Yeah, it's
And
great.
I think that's so cool. Like those are some key Spider-Man things that I think that they just nailed.
Yeah. Now, what I love is that we're getting into this new trilogy, and he's now college age, and he's he has
graduating
matured,
college, right?
It's very cool.
Don't the trailers talk about like this is their last term at MIT or something?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So they're getting ready to graduate college.
Yeah, which is it's gonna be awesome. I'm very excited. But just to go back to Vulture real quick,
Yeah, go for it.
his whole crew, the way that you also get Shocker and you get the Tinkerer.
Yeah,
Like I thought that
so
was
cool.
just these very grounded ways of introducing these like classic supervillain characters. Even like Vulture. I love that Vulture is the first MCU Spider-Man villain because he was Spider-Man's first villain in the comics, like supervillain. It's awesome.
I mean, and then that reveal at the end of the movie about being Liz's dad. Like I
Oh my
remember
gosh.
being in the theater and being like, "Shut up!" That's so cool.
It's just the audible gasp. It's just incredible.
Well, and it brings together the two different storylines that Peter has throughout the movie of like being interested in Liz and fighting the Vulture. All of a sudden, those two storylines are the same storyline,
Yeah.
and that's so cool.
Yeah. People can say what they
I
want.
will say,
People can say what they want about like John Watts, who directed the first 3 movies, and there are some people who criticize it like, oh, things could be more like vibrant or things could have more energy. But I'll tell you right now, one of my favorite scenes in the entire MCU, just as far as like the framing and the color and everything, is when Vulture's driving Liz and Peter to the homecoming dance, and he's putting the
Yeah.
pieces together that Peter is Spider-Man. And the second it clicks, and he's like, good old Spider-Man, and he's totally figured it out, is like they're at the intersection. And the second he figures it out, that green light from the intersection hits his face, and Peter's
Yeah.
freaking out, and the tension is perfect. It's, oh my gosh, it's so good.
It's super well
I
done.
love it. I love it.
I will say the thing about this movie that maybe bothers me is just the fact that Spidey is so teched out. And I get that like that's a part of the story of like being, you know, Tony giving him the suit and like their dynamic. I get that that's part of it,
Right.
but just like the fact that he has like web bombs and his, you know, his web wings and just like everything is just like
Instant
ready
kill.
to go for him.
Yeah.
It's like I get the part that it plays in that movie, and I get that like the storyline they went with is Tony and Peter's relationship
Mm-hmm.
and like how that defines him.
Mm-hmm.
But it does bother me a little bit. So I am excited to see this new Spider-Man movie. That he maybe doesn't have all of that. Maybe he's got like pieces of it, but he doesn't have, you know, the AI in his suit that is,
Yeah,
you know,
his suit's
feeding
definitely
him all
more
this
like
information.
his suit's definitely more like low tech, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
And that's and we're getting into territory of talking about the new movie, but that'll be part of our new segment too. But like that's reflected in the way that they film the movie too, with more practical stunts, and the suit is like there,
Yeah.
less CGI. I think that's just really cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be a crazy, crazy good time.
Before we get to the news though, let's talk about the Doomsday Connection.
Oh yeah.
And what I want to stay away from is the Toby Andrew conversation
Sure.
and whether or not they're going to be present, because that'll be a good conversation when we talk about No Way Home.
Yeah.
So I want to
good-
save
good
that
point,
for
good
that
point.
movie. But what connections do you think this movie could have to Doomsday?
I mean, okay, well, like, first let's preface this by the fact that Tom Holland has yet to be confirmed for Doomsday or Secret Wars. Is he going
Right.
to be in Doomsday and Secret Wars? Most likely
I
one
sure
of
hope so.
most likely Secret Wars, if not both of them. Having said that, there is prime opportunity when you cast Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. There is prime opportunity to have some crazy dynamics between this new supervillain who has Tony Stark's face and Peter Parker, who was his protege.
Yeah. I mean, and that goes back to the conversation that we've been having of why cast Robert Downey Jr. in this role in the first place. Is it just for the shock value for the audience, or is it going to actually have an impact on the characters in the movie? And I
Yeah.
think that if it's just for us and it doesn't matter to the movie, I think that's a wasted casting. Because don't get me wrong, I love RDJ,
Yeah.
but why just recast him in a different role when you could have cast somebody different
Yeah.
and it wouldn't have been as distracting?
Yeah.
So I think there needs to be that scene where he takes off his mask and a whole bunch of the heroes, including Peter Parker, are like, "Oh my gosh, it's Tony!
yeah.
Like, what's going on?" That whole type of scene.
Yeah, I mean, my argument for this has always been like when they first revealed him at Comic-Con, and the Russo brothers were like, to demonstrate the full power of the multiverse, there's only one person who could play Doctor Doom, and then Tony, you know, Robert Downey Jr. takes off the mask, the Doom mask, and it's the big reveal, right? So I feel like even just with that wording does maybe suggest that why would you cast him if not to use the multiverse in this way, to have a crazy variant, you know?
I think that's the way it has to be. I'm actually going to be incredibly disappointed if they never acknowledge it,
Yeah.
because then I think that's just lazy casting.
Yeah. No, I think you're right.
Um,
Fingers crossed.
there has to be a point.
Fingers crossed.
Something that I was thinking about though is in the multiverse, we did have Morbius,
Ugh,
which
yeah.
if you haven't seen Morbius, you really don't need to. It was not my favorite movie in the world. I think it maybe got too much hate, but it's also not a good movie.
Not as bad
Pe-
as Madam Web, but still one of the like bottom tier of Sony's Spider-Man spin-off movies.
the internet and people hopped on the bandwagon of hating on the movie, so I don't think it was as bad as everybody said it was, but it was still pretty awful.
Yeah, and there's pretty rough effects.
But anyways, we get the post credit scene where something happens in the multiverse, and Vulture ends up in the Morbius, Venom, Madam Web universe,
Yeah,
and he's somehow able himself to recreate his Vulture tech, which doesn't make any sense
because it's alien based.
he wasn't the one who made it.
Yeah,
And he somehow finds Morbius and is like, we need to like form a team of our own or something. And it's
he
like,
literally says he literally says, "Not sure how I got here, but I think Spider-Man's involved. Guys like us, we could do some good." And it's like, what are you talking? And Morbius is like,
Yeah,
"I'm listening." It's like you're not. He wasn't even really portrayed as a bad guy in the Morbius movie, so it doesn't make much sense why he would team up with Vulture.
No clue.
It's like every single point of that post-credit scene made zero sense.
Well, and like Sony's just trying to push the Sinister Six thing for like over a decade now,
Yeah, seriously.
right? And it's like it's not gonna happen because you're not being intentional about it. But anyways, I bring that up to say, what if in the Doomsday multiverse of it all, we do see Vulture again, or maybe we see a Mysterio who's actually from another universe, or you know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, that could
like
be really
in
interesting.
the multiverse of infinite possibilities, we could see Vulture again.
Well, let's just connect it to Secret Wars a little bit. In the Secret Wars comic, God Emperor Doom, which is what Doom makes himself when he saves the multiverse with all these fragments of realities
Right.
and creates Battleworld, he puts himself as God Emperor, but then he's got a select number of people as like barons of like different regions.
Yeah.
So that could be an interesting way to like bring back some past villains. No, for sure.
And if you're bringing back past villains, there are some that just aren't gonna be as impactful.
Yeah.
And then there's others like Michael Keaton, who apart from the Vulture, is a huge actor.
Yeah.
But then you bring the Vulture of it in, maybe he's got his own region that he's in control of. And maybe you bring back Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. Or,
Yeah.
whatever.
I mean, there's a
So
ton of
it could be pretty
possibilities.
cool.
It'd be yeah. There's
Um,
sky's the limit for Secret Wars.
There's more to talk about as it relates to Spider-Man and Doomsday, but we'll save that specifically when it comes to No Way Home, because No Way Home is a multiverse movie.
Although I do think we can talk about we'll talk some more, like even with Far From Home, because they touch on it a little bit.
Yeah, as we continue to go, there'll be more and more that we get to talk about. But let's go ahead and move to news. The first of which being Spider-Man tickets are on sale.
Oh yeah.
There's
We're
a
just
new
gonna
trailer
gonna
out.
keep talking about Spider-Man.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just okay. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
Mhm.
I think I've said it on the podcast before, but I'm not sure. I am really looking forward to like the mutagenic aspect of it, because in the original Spider-Man cartoon, not the original, but the one from the 90s, that for me like really defines a lot of who Spider-Man is.
Yeah.
And like the
And lots of the lore.
mutagenics of that show, that was like a major theme.
Yeah.
And so to see like Spider-Man dealing with like his powers going into overdrive and him seeking help, that's stuff that happened in the show, and I think that's great.
Yeah, because
super excited
he's
for
dealing with a rapidly evolving his mutation is rapidly evolving, and that's resulting in he's stronger, he's faster, he's got organic webs. But then there's this
Yeah.
trade-off where he's like, in the second trailer there's a line where he's like, I think I'm losing my mind, I've been out of control. Like these more like primal instincts are kind of taking over.
It's so cool.
And he's at, that's why Bruce Banner is in this movie to begin with, where he goes to Bruce for help, and Bruce is like, he's like, can you separate the good from the bad? And he's like, how do you decide in nature like what's good and what's bad? Like it's gonna be fascinating.
Well, so in the show, he ends up going to the X-Men for help,
Yeah.
but the X-Men aren't established yet, so he goes to Bruce Banner. And so some people I've heard online be like, "Oh, why is Hulk in the movie? That doesn't make any sense." It makes a lot of sense,
Oh yeah.
actually.
Oh yeah.
It makes a lot of sense that he's in the movie because in terms of mutations in the MCU, there is no one better than Bruce Banner to talk about mutations with.
1000%. I'm very excited.
But as we talk about mutants, it's highly theorized and it's all but confirmed that Sadie Sink is playing Jean Grey,
Yeah. Yeah.
Phoenix. Which I'm okay with her playing Phoenix. I don't have anything against Sadie Sink. I don't have anything against Jean Grey. I think it's actually a pretty good casting. I like a younger X-Men. I think that's very cool. My thing is that we are getting X-Men in Doomsday. That's happening.
Right.
And so I would have rather we completely closed the book on the old X-Men before we start introducing new characters.
Before we move to the new
because
X-Men.
if this is
yeah.
if Sadie Sink is Jean Grey, then what happens if the old Jean Grey is in Doomsday? Because that's been rumored as well.
So far she's not, and maybe this is the reason why.
It's been rumored.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, as far as we know right now, she's not been confirmed, and maybe this is the reason why. But
Regardless, it still feels weird to start introducing X-Men when we're still trying to finish up what has come before.
No, yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I want this movie to focus on really, really, really focus on Spider-Man and his journey. And if Jean Grey does a good job of helping with that, great. I just don't want the X-Men and introducing what's going to be the next big phase of the MCU. I don't want that to take away from what has the potential to be the best Spider-Man movie of the MCU.
Yeah, you don't want it to overshadow. I don't think it will. But no, I get where you're coming from and why it's a concern.
Anyways, let's stop talking about Spider-Man. Is there any other news that we should be aware of?
My Adventures with Superman season 3 premiered this week. I watched the first episode.
Yeah.
It's super fun.
Yeah, I did too.
It's just this very fun, like charming anime style Superman series. And Jack Quaid is the voice of Superman, does a really great job. They do a lot of kind of fun tweaks to designs and different characters. And it's been really fun.
I was going to say that there are aspects of it that I really don't like, but then there are aspects of it that I really do love.
Yeah.
Like, I love the fact that, like, Superman is just the way some of his powers look. They're a little bit more, like, electrical. Like, the powers, like, oozing out of him.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I really like some of the new characters that they introduced in this first episode.
Mm-hmm.
I like what they're doing with that.
Yeah.
I think that's rad. Yeah, I think it's just a good time.
It feels.
I think you also have to kind of like throw away like I have to care about canon and the way things have been.
Yeah.
And just enjoy what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean it's not connected to the DCU anyway, but it's got that same heart and spirit where it just kind of feels like this fun companion series.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I really like it. So I just wanted to mention that because I really enjoyed the premiere. Trying to think of anything else big. Supergirl is next Thursday.
On the way.
First reactions dropped today at the time of our recording. And from what I can tell, they lifted the embargo early. So
really?
Yeah, and typically when a studio does that, that's a good thing, right? They're feeling confident enough that they want people to be hyped about it and they want people to see those reactions.
See that's not
sooner
the way
rather
that
than later.
I see that. That's not the way that I see that.
Why?
So let me preface this next statement with I'm excited for Supergirl. I think it's going to be a fun movie. But when a studio starts to go really, really hard with like promotion in a way that's not the norm, for me that says like, oh man, people are interested enough in our movie, so we need to bump up expectations for it.
Sure, and I
and
think
bump up interest.
yeah, I think in a
And
general
I don't
sense,
think that means that the movie's bad.
right.
I just
right.
don't think that they've generated enough interest for it.
I think in a general sense, you're right. Like that is what studios typically tend to do. Like if they feel like they're not getting their good ticket sales or whatever, and they really, really, really push the promo and the marketing. I think you're absolutely right. That being said, that typically doesn't happen when you're talking about like first reactions, because that's a form of marketing they allow, but they don't necessarily control. Because people are going to have their opinions.
Yeah,
And I've seen some opinions that are really good, and I've seen some opinions that are very middle of the road. I've seen some that are not so good. So, people are having their different takes on it, but I feel like for the most part, people have been really enjoying it. So at least for me, I could be wrong, but at least for me, that feels like a good sign, and Warner Brothers is feeling confident.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm not saying anything about like how they're really feeling. I just think that there isn't enough interest in this movie.
Okay.
Like I think this movie will get people like you and me who know the characters and know the comics that this movie's based off of.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna get us there. We've got our tickets for opening night.
Oh yeah.
But like for instance, the other day I was hanging out with a couple friends, and I was showing a couple clips from Superman, and we watched the trailer for Supergirl, and there just wasn't really any interest in the Supergirl movie because it's characters that aren't as well known.
True.
And it's going to be like all in space.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's going to be kind of like weird space stuff. It's going to be lesser known characters. Maybe not lesser known because everybody knows Supergirl, but not everybody, like, everybody's aware of Supergirl, but nobody, like, knows what's going on with her,
Yeah.
Like in the
I mean,
comics.
I certainly hope
Like
that
the general audience I'm talking about here.
Yeah, and I certainly hope that this will
And
be the movie to do it, whether people watch it in theaters or whether they watch it like streaming. I'm hopefully this will be the movie that's definitive enough that it will be the definitive Supergirl.
Oh, I'm sure it will be. I'm sure
Yeah.
it will be.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to bring up is that the hardcore DC fans, we're gonna enjoy whatever James Gunn gives us, right?
I mean, for the
or
most
not
part,
enjoy it, but we're excited.
that's
for
the
whatever
hope.
James
Yeah,
Gunn
we'll
gives
be
us.
the anticipation will be high.
Right. Like for instance, we've got Clayface in October.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super excited for it because I know Clayface, and I remember watching the Clayface episode of Batman animated series as a kid and the impact that had on me.
Yeah.
And like I'm really excited for it. But like there's other people who are like, who's Clayface? And they're not going to be as interested in it. And so I just think that I appreciate James Gunn telling stories that I'm excited for, but I think that if the DCU is going to survive, they need to continue to tell the big stories. So we're getting Superman, Man of Tomorrow next year. But
Yeah.
then I think we need Batman pretty quickly.
Yep.
And we need a Wonder Woman movie or Justice League, or give us a good Flash movie. I'm really excited for the Green Lantern show. Like,
Yeah.
give us the big name. Like, those ones need to start being more consistent.
No, yeah, that's a good point.
Anyways,
other than that,
I think that's about all
it.
for
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Next week we are watching Thor Ragnarok. A lot of people claim that that's the best Thor movie, and we're gonna talk about that.
It's me
because I got thoughts.
I claim that.
See, I think it's a great movie, but I don't think it's a good Thor movie.
We'll get into it next week.
So next week, we'll see you there. Thank you for listening to Super Rant Season 1 Doomsday Preppers. Look out for our following episode next Friday. And remember to watch the upcoming movie before listening. You can find a link to our watch schedule on our YouTube